You are listening to American Nightmare Radio. Tonight's case comes out of Hartford, Connecticut. No prior history, no warning signs, no gradual decline. By the time anyone realized something was wrong, it was already inside the house. The Voss family lived in a quiet neighborhood just outside the city. A normal home. 2 parents, twin daughters. Nothing that would suggest what would happen inside those walls. 16-year-old Emily Voss was the first to change. It started with her voice. Not screaming, not crying, speaking, low, controlled, calm in a way that didn't belong to her. At first, her parents thought she was joking, mimicking something she had heard online. But that idea didn't last long, because Emily began saying things she couldn't possibly know. Private conversations, old arguments, details that had never been spoken out loud, things buried, things forgotten. And she said them without emotion, like she was reading from something. Her twin sister, Claire, was the first to notice the pattern. Emily wasn't reacting to people anymore. She was watching them, studying them, like she was waiting for something. By the third night, the voice had changed completely. Deeper, layered, not loud, but heavy. And that's when the family called their parish. Father Donnelly arrived just after midnight. He had handled difficult cases before, situations involving mental instability, grief, even people who believed they were possessed. But this felt different the moment he stepped into the room. Emily was sitting upright in her bed, not restrained, not moving, just sitting there, staring at the far wall, waiting. He introduced himself calmly, stepping closer. Emily didn't respond, not at first. Then, slowly, she turned her head toward him and smiled.
I know who you are, Father. I know all and see all.
The voice was wrong, not just deep, layered, like something underneath her words was speaking at the same time. Father Donnelly paused, only for a moment, then continued. He began the rite. Latin prayers, steady, controlled, practiced. The kind of repetition meant to ground the room, to establish order. But Emily didn't react, not immediately. She just watched him, eyes fixed, unblinking. Then her lips parted again.
I have been here longer than you, Father.
The temperature in the room dropped. Subtle at first, then noticeable. Claire shifted near the doorway, arms wrapped around herself. Their mother began to cry quietly. Father Donnelly raised his voice slightly, continuing the rite, pushing forward. That's when Emily sat up straighter, too straight, her posture locking in place like something had pulled her upright. Her eyes didn't blink, not once. Then she spoke again, but this time it wasn't her voice, it was his.
Leave the house.
The exact tone, the exact cadence, a perfect copy. Father Donnelly stopped. For the first time since entering the room, he hesitated. Emily tilted her head slightly, still smiling, still watching him. The bed beneath her shifted, not violently, just enough to be noticed. A slow, unnatural movement. The priest stepped back, just one step, but it was enough, because the moment he did, Emily laughed. Not loudly, not wildly, just a quiet, controlled sound. And underneath it, something else moved with it. Father Donnelly lowered his hands. The prayer stopped. The room fell completely silent. He looked at the parents, then at Claire, then back at Emily. And for the first time, there was uncertainty in his voice. This isn't a standard case. Emily's smile widened slightly. Not exaggerated, just enough, as if she understood. Father Donnelly gathered his things quickly. No final blessing, no attempt to continue. At the doorway, he stopped. Without turning back, he said quietly, "I'm contacting the diocese." A pause. Then, "They'll escalate this." The door closed behind him, and for a moment, everything was still. Emily slowly turned her head back toward the wall, the smile fading, but not completely. In the hallway, Claire stood frozen, listening, because from inside the room, Emily's voice came again. Softer now, lower, almost thoughtful. And though no one responded, it sounded like she was speaking to someone, not in the room, but already inside the house. If you enjoy reports like this, consider subscribing to American Nightmare. We have many more dreadful reports to bring you. And now back to our broadcast. The call didn't go through the local parish. It went higher. By the following evening, the request had already been reviewed and reassigned. Not dismissed, not delayed, escalated. Father Armand arrived just after sunset. He didn't ask many questions on the way in, didn't linger in the hallway, didn't hesitate at the door. But the moment he stepped inside the Voss home, he slowed. Not because of what he saw, because of what he felt. The house was quiet, too quiet. Not the kind of silence that settles in a normal home at night. This felt held, like something inside was listening. Emily was no longer speaking when he entered the room. She sat the same way Father Donnelly had described, upright, still, facing forward. But her eyes shifted immediately when he stepped in, locked onto him, tracking. Father Armand didn't introduce himself, didn't approach the bed. Instead, he spoke calmly from across the room. "You're not alone in there." A pause. Emily's lips curled into a faint smile.
We are never alone, Father. Come closer.
The voice was the same, layered, measured, certain. But Father Armand didn't react. He just watched her, carefully. Then he asked something different. "How many are present?" The question hung in the air. Emily didn't answer, at least not immediately. Her expression changed, subtle, almost like confusion. Then her eyes shifted past him, toward the doorway, and Emily went completely still. A breath, then another, and behind him, someone spoke.
We are many, Father.
The voice was identical. Father Armand didn't turn right away. He already knew. But the parents did. They turned instantly. Claire was standing in the doorway, her posture rigid, her face wrong. Not distorted in an obvious way, just unfamiliar, like something behind her expression wasn't aligning correctly. Her mouth moved slowly, deliberately, but the voice was not hers. It was the same voice that had come from Emily, perfectly matched. No difference in tone, no difference in cadence. Father Armand stepped slightly to the side now, positioning himself where he could see both girls. Emily sat on the bed, still, watching. Claire stood in the doorway, smiling, neither of them blinking. "It moves," Father Armand said quietly. The parents looked at him, confused, terrified. He didn't explain. He just asked another question. "Why reveal yourself now?" Claire's head tilted slightly. Then her expression tightened. A breath caught in her throat, and suddenly she gasped. Her body jerked forward, hands gripping the door frame, and then nothing. Claire collapsed to her knees. Behind her, their mother screamed. Because now, Emily was smiling again. The voice had returned.
You called for us.
The mother staggered back, shaking. "No, no, no." Then she froze. Her breath stopped mid-sentence. Her posture changed. Shoulders stiff, jaw tightening, and slowly her head turned toward Father Armand, her eyes empty. Then she spoke. The same voice, exactly the same. Father Armand didn't move, didn't react. But now he understood. This wasn't a possession, not in the way it had been described before. This thing wasn't attached to Emily. It was attached to the room, to proximity, to attention. It didn't choose a host. It occupied one, then moved. And each time it moved, it left something behind. Claire was still on the floor, breathing again, confused. Emily hadn't moved, but her eyes tracked everything. Their mother stood frozen, and for a moment, no one spoke. Then Father Armand finally stepped forward. Not toward Emily, not toward Claire, toward all of them. "We begin now," he said. The parents didn't argue. They didn't ask questions, because they had already seen enough. Father Armand placed his hand on the ritual book, opened it slowly, and before he could speak the first line, someone in the room whispered,
Pick one, Father.
No one knew who said it, because for just a moment, all three of them were smiling at the same time. Father Armand didn't raise his voice, didn't rush, didn't react to the faces watching him. He began the rite calmly. Latin, steady, measured, each word deliberate, each line placed with intention. He did not look at Emily. He did not look at Claire. He did not look at their mother. Because now he understood. Looking gave it direction. The first response came immediately. A voice from somewhere in the room.
Which one will you save?
No one moved. Father Armand continued. The temperature dropped again, colder than before, heavier. A chair creaked slightly behind him. Then a sharp inhale. Emily's voice.
You cannot separate us.
But before the last word finished, Claire spoke. Same sentence, same tone. Then their mother. Same voice, slightly delayed, layered. Not perfectly synchronized, but close enough to feel wrong. Father Armand did not stop. He turned a page, continued the rite. The voices shifted again. Father Voss, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward suddenly. His expression tight, his breathing uneven. Then his face changed, subtle but unmistakable. His jaw locked, eyes slightly unfocused. And when he spoke, it was the same voice.
We are not one.
His wife screamed. Claire backed into the wall. Emily didn't move, but she was watching all of it, carefully. Father Armand raised his voice now, not louder, but firmer, more direct. He was no longer reacting. He was pushing. The room responded instantly. All four of them, Emily, Claire, their mother, their father, shifted at once. Not violently, but in unison. Their heads tilting slightly, their breathing slowing. And then they spoke, together, perfectly aligned.
You see us now.
The sound wasn't loud, but it filled the room, pressed into the walls. Father Armand closed his eyes briefly, then continued. The cadence didn't break, even as the room began to change. Lights flickering, shadows stretching, air thickening. A low pressure building behind the ears, the kind that makes silence feel impossible. Then a sharp crack. The overhead light went out. Darkness for 1 second. Then it came back, and everything stopped. Emily collapsed forward onto the bed. Claire dropped to her knees. Their mother stumbled back against the wall. Their father stood still, breathing heavily. No one spoke. No voice, no movement. Only the sound of breathing, slowly returning. Father Armand lowered the book. The room felt normal again, or at least close enough. He looked at each of them carefully, watching, waiting. Then he asked quietly, "Who feels different?" No one answered. Emily shook her head slowly. Claire looked confused. Their mother wiped tears from her face. Their father stepped back. Silence. Then Claire spoke, soft, almost unsure. It didn't leave. No layered voice, no distortion, just her. But something in the way she said it felt rehearsed. Father Armand didn't respond. He just watched her. And for a brief moment, Claire smiled, the same way Emily had. The case was closed 2 days later. No further incidents reported, no follow-up required. Officially, nothing remained. But the notes from Father Armand included one final line. Not part of the report, not submitted to the diocese, just written at the bottom of the page. He never confirmed departure. You've been listening to American Nightmare Radio. If you made it this far, consider subscribing, because some stories don't end when they're over. Sometimes they just get quiet, and sometimes they're still in the room.